Welcome to Living Inspired with Autism. I'm your host, Antoinette, and today we're exploring something that has really made a difference to me as a mom. Finding your center while you're in the middle of an autism parenting storm. So have you ever seen footage of a hurricane from above? There is chaos and destruction swirling around. You'll see a cow flying past, maybe you'll see a refrigerator, but right in the middle is something quite remarkable. The eye of the storm, perfectly calm while everything around it rages. That image has become my favorite metaphor for autism parenting. The storms will come, meltdowns in public places, sleep progressions that leave you exhausted, IEP meetings that don't go as planned, well-meaning but really hurtful comments from relatives. These external circumstances are often beyond our control. But what if instead of trying to control all those external forces, we're focused on creating and maintaining that calm center within ourselves? What if we could parent from the eye of a hurricane rather than just getting swept up in the storm? I discovered this approach out of sheer necessity. For years, I tried to control everything around my son, Max. I tried to control his environment, his therapies, his schedule, other people's understanding of autism, people that were around him, and I was exhausted and still struggling. It wasn't until I had this real issue when Max was 5 that I realized that my approach just wasn't sustainable. So during that time, I discovered coaching, and I realized that I could be different. Despite having a child with complex needs, I could have this remarkable presence. I could be calm, centered, and what do you know, even joyful. And when I dive deeper into the secret, I learned something I'll never forget. I can't control the autism or how the world responds to it, but I can control my center. When I'm centered, I am the anchor for my child, and that's what he needs in the storm. And this changed everything for me because I began to understand that cultivating this internal calm isn't just nice self-care, it's an essential infrastructure for our autism parenting. Because when we operate from our center, we make much better decisions, we connect more deeply with our kiddos, and we actually model that very regulation skill that they need to develop. So, what exactly is your center and how do you find it? Your center is that grounded, present state where you're connected to your deepest values and able to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. So finding your center begins with identifying your personal anchors. You know, those specific things that help you to return to that centered state. And these anchors are highly individual. They're different for everyone. What centers me might not center you. So there are two kinds of anchors. They're value-based and they're circumstances-based. Now, value-based anchors are connected to your deeper purpose and meaning. For me, that's remembering that my core value as Max's mom is a connection that helps me center when I'm getting lost in the whole behavior management or developmental worries. Circumstance-based anchors depend on specific conditions like needing a quiet house or a day off or the perfect weather for a walk or Max's perfect behavior. Now, while these are helpful, they're not always available when we need them the most. So the strongest anchors are the ones you can access regardless of external circumstances. To discover your personal anchors, try this simple exercise. Think about that last time you felt like truly centered, maybe after meditation, that calm, you're present, you're capable despite anything life throws at you. What was happening internally that helped you maintain that center? Was it something specific, a thought that you held? Was it a physical practice? Or was it a way of connecting to your values? Now for me, taking 3 conscious breaths while placing my hand on my heart is a reliable anchor. It works when I have to go into an IEP meeting. It helps during meltdowns and even in quiet moments at home. Now yours might be different, perhaps visualizing a peaceful place or repeating a meaningful phrase or connecting to a specific intention. The important thing is distinguishing between your true anchors and temporary escapes, like scrolling social media or stress eating or zoning out with Netflix. Those things might provide momentarily relief, but they don't actually help you find your center. True anchors leave you feeling more connected to yourself and your values, not less. So once you've identified your anchors, the next step is integrating them into your daily life, beginning with how you start your day. Okay, so the way you begin your mornings sets the tone for everything that follows. Many of us start our days already off center. We jolted awake by the alarm, or maybe your kiddo comes running into the room like mine did a little earlier, the patter of little feet, or immediately picking up your phone and checking your emails or social media, or rushing to get up to manage your kiddo needs before you've even fully awake. So when our successful autism parents about how their morning routines go, I discovered that a lot have created simple, powerful practices that help them start the day from their center. And none of these required hours of meditation or complete solitude, just a few intentional minutes. One mom shared that she wakes up 10 minutes before her child to sit quietly with her coffee. She sets an intention for the day, she takes a few deep breaths, and another one keeps a gratitude journal by her bed and writes 3 things that she's really thankful for before her feet hit the floor. And a dad I know does a brief centering visualization while he's showering, imagining himself rooted firmly like a tree before his day's demands begin. So my own morning centering rituals take 3 minutes to do. So before getting out of bed, I place one hand on my heart and one on my belly. I take 3 deep breaths. Then I set a simple intention for the day, not a to-do list, but a quality I want to embody, like patience, presence, compassion, love, and then, of course, my cup of coffee. Now, the key difference between intentions and expectations is that intentions focus on how you want to show up, while expectations focus on specific outcomes. So when we set expectations like today will be a meltdown-free day, or today I'll finally get my child to eat some more vegetables, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment because these outcomes aren't fully within our control. Intentions, on the other hand, focus on what you can control. You can control your own mindset and your own behaviors. For example, today I'll practice patience, or today I'll look for moments of connection. Those are intentions that you can fulfill regardless of external circumstances. Now, this small shift from setting expectations to setting intentions has been transformative for a lot of my autistic parents of autism. including me. It helps us enter the day from the place of empowerment rather than anxiety. Of course, even the best morning rituals won't keep you centered all day without reinforcement. The real challenge is creating those micro moments of calm throughout the day. Brief opportunities to return to that center while you are busy with constant demands. Transitions between activities are good opportunities for centering. So, for example, before picking up your child from school, take 30 seconds in the car just to breathe deeply and reconnect with how you want to show up for that after school period. Before you are beginning homework time, take a moment to center yourself so that you can bring patience to the table. And I need patience. These brief transition rituals help you move from one part of the day to another with intentionality rather than being on autopilot. Environmental cues can also remind you to return to your center. I have small visual reminders placed strategically around my home and my work desk. I have a little small stone on my desk, a particular image as my phone background, a meaningful symbol by the kitchen sink. So when I see these cues, they remind me to take a breath and reconnect with my center. You can also transform everyday activities into centering opportunities. For example, hand washing becomes a chance to feel that sensation of the water while taking a conscious breath. Or waiting in line, you can feel your feet on the ground and notice 3 things you can see, hear, or feel. Even routine tasks like folding the laundry or preparing food can also become mini meditation opportunities when you approach them with mindfulness. These micro moments don't require any extra time in your already busy schedule. They simply bring quality of attention to what you're already doing. Now, let's talk about powerful connection between physical practices and mental calm. Our bodies and minds are not separate systems. They're intimately connected. How we hold our bodies directly influences our emotional state and vice versa. Something as simple as changing your posture can shift your internal state within seconds. When we're stressed, we tend to hunch our shoulders, our breathing becomes more shallow, and we maybe tense our jaw. So just bringing awareness to these physical patterns and deliberately releasing them can create an immediate sense of greater calm. So I want you to sit back and try this right now. So roll your shoulders back, up and down, sort of roll them around like I am doing this right now. Lengthen your spine, take a deep breath into your belly. Notice how this posture shift influences your emotional state. It's nearly impossible to maintain a stressed, anxious state while you're breathing deeply with an open posture. Simple movement practices can also release that built-up tension that accumulates through the day. Autism parenting often involves physical demands, carrying or supporting our children, holding onto their hands, managing physical aspects of their care. Maybe you have to pick them up, or perhaps you're being constantly vigilant. This creates tension patterns in our bodies that, if they're not released, contribute to a chronically stressed state. A few of my favorite tension releasing movements include gentle neck rolls, shoulder circles, standing forward fold, simply bending forward from the hips and letting your upper body hang and your neck hang, your head hang for a few breaths. And these can be done anywhere, and it just takes a few seconds. Perhaps the most underrated physical practice for finding your center is face and jaw relaxation, because we hold a tremendous amount of tension in our facial muscles, particularly the jaw, without realizing it. Now, simply bringing your attention to your face, softening your expression, and releasing your jaw can create an immediate centering effect. I call this the Buddha face. Soft eyes, relaxed jaw, slight hint of a smile. Practicing this expression not only helps you feel more centered, but actually begins to change the emotional signals that your brain receives. Of course, maintaining your center is relatively easy during calm periods. The real test comes during the crisis moments when your kiddo is having a massive meltdown or sensory experience, or when you receive difficult news about a bad day at school, or when you're facing those challenging moments with the healthcare system. This is where emergency centering techniques become essential. These are practices that you can use in the midst of highly stressful situations just to help maintain or quickly return to your center. Okay, now one powerful emergency technique is what I call square breathing. Inhale for the count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, and then just repeat that. This pattern helps regulate your nervous system even in intense situations, and you can do this while physically supporting a child while they're having their meltdown or while you're sitting in a stressful meeting. Another approach is the hand-heart connection, simply placing your hand on your heart and focusing on that physical sensation for a moment. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and helps you access that calm even when all the chaos is going on around you. The language you use with yourself during high stress moments also significantly impacts your ability to stay centered. So many of us have internal narratives that escalate our stress. I can't handle this. This is a disaster. Everyone is judging me. I can't do this. Creating alternative phrases that support your center can be transformative. This is intense but temporary. I can stay calm even when my child can't. I've moved through difficult moments before. I can do this. Having these phrases ready before crisis hits means you don't have to invent them in the moment. Just as important as finding your center in crisis is knowing how to recover it when you inevitably lose it, because you will lose your center sometimes. We all do. The key is not perfection, but recovery. So after you have a difficult or a challenging incident, give yourself permission to acknowledge the impact. For example, that was really hard is a simple truth that many of us struggle to admit. Then engage in a deliberate centering practice, whether that's a few minutes of conscious breathing, a quick walk outside, or connect with a supportive person, perhaps that's your partner. Finally, be intentional about how you re-engage. Rather than rushing back into the demands of, while you're still feeling off-center, just take a moment to recall your intention and reconnect with your values before continuing. Okay, one of the most overlooked aspects of maintaining your center is actually building a support system. It really honors and supports your need for calm. Many of us try to practice the centeredness in isolation without support that makes it sustainable. Start by communicating your centering needs to your family members, those that are immediately around you, and the professionals in your child's life. And remember, guys, this isn't selfish. It's essential infrastructure for effective parenting. Let your partner know what helps you to stay centered and what knocks you off center. And get the same information from them. Share with the teachers or your therapist that you need a moment to process information before responding to difficult news. Creating boundaries that protect your ability to stay centered is equally important. This might mean limiting exposure to people who consistently knock you off center, being selective about autism-related social media groups you engage with, or establishing clear parameters around when you're available for non-emergency communication about your child. And find other parents who value and practice centeredness can also be life-changing. Now, these might not be the most vocal parents in support groups or the most visible on social media. Often they're the quiet ones who radiate a sense of peace despite challenging circumstances. Seek them out. Their centered presence can help anchor you on difficult days as well. I found my centering community in an unexpected place, a small group of autism parents who meet monthly, not to discuss therapy and autism things, but to practice and strengthen our centering skills and other things together. These relationships are actually essential to my well-being as Max's mom. So as we close our conversation today, I want to emphasize the ripple effect that your centeredness creates throughout your family's system. When you parent from your center, you're not just making your own experience more sustainable, you're creating a completely different environment for your child. Children with autism, often with heightened sensitivity to emotional atmospheres, they pick up on our stress, they pick up on our anxiety and fragmentation, even when we think we're hiding it well. They also benefit profoundly from our genuine centeredness, not perfect calm at all times, but the ability to return to your center when disrupted. When you parent from your center, you model the very regulation skills that you are hoping that your child develops. You create an atmosphere where connection can flourish. You make decisions from wisdom rather than reactivity. And perhaps most importantly, you demonstrate that well-being is possible even while you're going through the challenges. Starting the centering journey doesn't require dramatic life changes. It begins with just one small practice, perhaps the 3-minute morning ritual, a specific anchor you return to throughout the day, or an emergency centering technique for those difficult moments. Start so small that it feels almost too easy. Then gradually build from there. Remember that finding your center is not the destination, but these are continuous practices. Some days you're going to feel centered for hours. Other days you are really going to struggle to find your center at all. And the key is not perfection, but persistence. Coming back to center again and again, regardless how far you've strayed. Okay, thank you for joining me today on Living Inspired with Autism. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with other autism parents who might also benefit from this. And remember, in the storm of autism parenting, you have the power to create calm within, not by controlling the external circumstances, but by continually returning to your center, that quiet eye of the hurricane where your best parenting lives. Until next time, wishing you moments of centeredness in the beautiful chaos of autism family life.